The people making the decision on Amazon are absolutely much value. Investors as I was when I was looking around for all these things selling below working capital years ago, so that has not changed. The two people that want to boom made the investment in Amazon. They are looking at many hundreds of securities and they can look at more than I can because they're managing less money and they're there. Universe possible universes is a greater, but they are looking for things that they feel they understand what will be developed by that business between now and Judgment Day and cash, and it's not a sales. Current sales can make some difference. Current profit margins can make some difference. Tangible assets, excess cash, excess debt, all those things go into making a calculation as to whether they should buy A versus B versus AC, and they are absolutely following bio principles. They don't necessarily agree with each other or agree with me, but they are very smart. They are totally committed to Berkshire, and they're very good in human beings on top of it, so I don't second guess them out anything. Charlie doesn't second guess me on in 60 years. He never second guessed me on an investment, and the considerations are identical when you buy Amazon. Versus a bank stock that's looks cheap statistically against book value or earnings or something of the sort. In the end, it all goes back to when 600 BC said, you know that a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Stock 2. Coca-Cola. I think ever since I described it that way in terms of it talks about in terms of the probabilities that they would dominate the soft drink market and not lose a market share in any way, that they would grow over time. You know it's happening year after year. I don't think the global market share of Coca-Cola products has ever been higher than it is now, and I don't see anything that changes that in the future. I mean, it is a huge distribution system that has been getting into the minds of more and more consumers since 1886, when John Pemberton, Jacobs Pharmacy in Atlanta, first served up the first one. It is in the minds of people, the product, all over the world, and there'll be more people than it will be in their minds more firmly, and over time they should make a little more per drink. So I don't know how in the world anybody would successfully dethrone a Coca-Cola. We can change our stock 3 mind tomorrow and all of that, but we have not bought apples in the last since the earrings report came out because it shot up something but we would have. There's one of the fellows in the office has about 10 million shares, and I have for Berkshire's account about 123 million. So he got about 133 million shares. One of the fellows, that's Todd or Ted. Yeah. Would you care to say I never identified which one does which, and so one of them bought, and then you as a result bought some additional one of them and had 10 million shares, and then I bought another 123 billion shares or something like that. Why? Because I liked it. You always said that you're not a technology investor, and now when you start looking through the earning, through the holdings, so I'm not a technology industry. Wait, I can't hold this here, hold that up higher. I can't see it. That's your best untapped market out there. I mean 86-year-old guys who haven't got it yet. Amex is growing stock 4 around the world with individuals, is growing around the world with small businesses. You just saw the contract they made with Delva, which is probably the ideal partner that runs what for 8 or 9, whatever it may be, 9 or 10 years actually. It's the buildings go up per capita, they go up. The coverage spreads and they're gonna have loads of competition and they always will but they had You know that's something. KP Morgan took on the Platinum card and was the competitor, and the Platinum card had a highest renewal rates that they've had, and they've increased the price, I think, from $450 to $550 during a competitive battle, and retention improved and new business improved, and 68 or so the new business was millennials. I mean it is not an identical product with anything else, and as a premium card it has a clientele which is large. It may only be maybe X and maybe X% of the market, maybe 3/4 of X% or whatever it may be. It isn't for the person that likes to have 5 cards and look every day at which one provides the most rewards that day, or in what gas stations or something of the sort, but it's got a very large constituency that has a renewal rate, a usage rate that's the envy of everybody else in the industry. So I like our American Express position very well. Charlie. Stock 5. We have some very, very strong brands of Kraft Heinz, and as I pointed out earlier, the company earns about $6 billion pre-tax. But after depreciation, not after amortization but after depreciation, $106 billion on $7 billion of tangible assets. It's a fabulous business. It's in terms of return on tangible assets, I mean this is a great business. We're sitting here the first year mark, but Richard's much higher at Kraft. It's much higher than it is at JP Morgan. It's much. You go up and down the list, there's very few companies that are earning $6 billion on $7 billion of potential assets, but we paid $100 billion more than the tangible assets in buying, and we overpaid and in Kraft. I don't think we overpaid in Heinz, and we borrowed money that related to projections that have not been met. We earn a lot of money, but we were paying out a lot of money, so we had very little in the way of retained earnings to reduce debt. So our debt of $31 billion is higher than we've projected originally to rating agencies and so on, and we need to bring it down, and it comes down very slowly. I mean, unless you sell properties. I mean, even if you cut the dividend from $250 to $160, that's $1.1 billion a year, but on $31 billion you'll go the right direction. But there's a lot of there's real debt to be reduced, by far the most. Stock 6. Important person at Disney in the last 12 years or whatever it's been has been Michael Eisner. I mean it. If you know him and what he has done in the business, there's no one. Frank Wells did a terrific job in conjunction with Eisner, but Eisner has been the Walt Disney in effect of his tenure. He knows the business. He loves the business. He eats and lives in and breathes it, and he has been, in my view, by far the most important factor in Disney's success. Now they face competition. The money is in, the big money is in the animated films and everything that revolves around that, because you go from films to parks to character merchandising and back, and I mean it's a circular sort of thing which feeds on itself. There's going to be plenty of competition in that. I mean you've seen what MCA and Universal is going to do with in the parks in Florida, and you know what DreamWorks is going to do in animation, and now you've got new technology and animation through Steve Jobs, and there's a lot of things going on in that field.